Is this Eric Trump? Which Trump is it?
This is
Eric Trump. Yeah.
Wait.
So Eric Trump was on Fox and Friends, defending his dad. Now, a lot of people say Don Jr. is the dumbest one. I feel like there must be some. You get the sense that there's some type of like competition where dad has sat him down and said, "Look, one of you is going to prove to be the stupidest. You're the one who's going to get all the money. So get out there and see which one is." And prove to me which one is the stupidest. Now, the reason why I play this after we just played that clip of that woman who was semi-accosted by I wouldn't say accosted, but approached by the CNN reporter who was a little dogged. And she started going into the Hillary Clinton, conspiracy. Eric Trump at the end of this is setting the predicate for that conspiracy. We see it investigated, but this is where they're going to go with this. But before we get there, we get to see Trump basically tangle himself up into a pretzel.
And this is the greatest abuse of power you can see. I mean, it is the greatest abuse of power, and I think as citizens, we should all be concerned about it.
Well, you got to get to the bottom of it, but at the same time, a lot of the people who did this work for your father's Department of Justice and FBI.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people who did it should be held accountable. I mean, they really should be held accountable, and I think the American people are seeing that and demanding it at this point. But what started off as a hoax, Trump won the election because of Russia, has been proven to be nothing further from the truth, and they ended up finding themselves in this whole irony, and it's just kind of amusing.
But the Russians being
wait, what?
You know what? That was very good, son. I especially like the use of irony in a way that even I understood didn't make any sense.
Start off as a hoax, and then they irony.
It just ended up as an irony. It just ended up in the whole irony. That's what we say.
But here is the part where he lays the predicate for what the sort of the next big push is going to be, right? The idea that Barack Obama knew about the Russian interference. So they're conceding now that there is some Russian interference in the election. Because, look, there was. Was it determinate? Who knows? But they're conceding that it's the case. And because, like, literally people are going to go, are either pleading guilty or being indicted or, I don't know, may go to jail over that. So they're conceding this. But now the question is, why did Barack Obama not say anything? And it's going to come up. Remember, we know why Barack Obama didn't say anything. Mitch McConnell said, if you say anything, we're going to make this a big political story. But here is Eric Trump, starting to raise this.
As a hoax, Trump won the election because of Russia, has been proven to be nothing further from the truth, and they ended up finding themselves in this whole irony, and it's just kind of amusing.
But the Russians being bold enough to meddle has to be stopped, and I hope that gets addressed.
I agree. And by the way, I wish Obama would have done that. If he knew, which he clearly did, I wish he would have stopped that. And the big question is, why did he do nothing about it?
That's the big question. Why did he do nothing about it? Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to look for a specific answer. And that answer is going to be because the Russians were actually helping Hillary Clinton. And that's why he did nothing about it, because he was in cahoots with it. That's where the answer is going to be. It may take him a month or two. It may take him 6 months. Maybe they'll do it next week, but that's going to be the answer.
So that is very probable, but I can also guarantee you that that's not where Eric was going. He was just talking.
Yeah,
he's not doing these things.
I'm telling you,
to make
when
sure
they
to not
say
project
this is the
yourself
big question,
onto that kid.
When they tee up something and they say this is the big question, that's literally they are repeating what their handlers told them to say. Remember, the big question is, why didn't Obama do anything about it? All right. Now, with that said, there's at least evidence that the Russian government or Russian, entities tried to influence the American election. It's probably the hacking of the emails that probably had more impact in terms of what it's, triggered and this and that. We don't know what their intentions were. We don't know how, how whether it was just like, let's just wreak some chaos and see what happens, which is probably around what was involved in it. We don't know how involved the Trump
That's how we got involved in this whole ironic situation.
But
the whole irony.
Here's the thing to also keep in mind, and this is important because obviously we don't want people interfering in our election, whether it's Russians or Chinese, or frankly, I would not like the Koch brothers to interfere in our elections in the way that they do, or all sorts of other dark money entities. In some instances, we're precluded from having statutes that prevent this. But in terms of like the morality of it, and in terms of the implications of it, beyond the play, I mean, the irony is that there is a big push to make it like, some people said Pearl Harbor or whatever, that the Russians doing this is some type of egregious attack on the country. And it's bad. We want it to stop because we want our elections to be legitimate. But for us to elevate this interference in our election, then we have to reckon with our interference in other people's elections. And don't take my word for it. Take the neocon lunatic James Woolsey, who was the head of the CIA, who was one of, I wouldn't say architects of the invasion of Iraq, the most recent one, but certainly a big proponent of it. He was also for a long time an advisor to Trump, although he skedaddled when I think he got a wind of stuff that was going on. But here he is on Fox News with Laura Ingraham giving up the ghost.
Have we ever tried to meddle in other countries' elections?
Oh, probably, but it was for the good of the system in order to avoid the communists from taking over. For example, in Europe, in 47, 48, 49, the Greeks and the Italians, we
don't do that now, though.
Yeah, pause it. So I understand. We did it, but it was in the past, and it was during the context of the Cold War. Communism is very bad. And certainly the USSR, you wouldn't want to be under their sphere of influence. So we had reasons to do it. So there it is. It's like, okay, we did this.
The
now, I know a lot of people
Soviet-supported regimes that did things like, cut people's stomachs out and throw them out of helicopters and stuff like that. So it's really bad
don't
stuff.
Don't be like that.
That was not a communist.
Don't be like that.
Not communist.
But at least we don't do this now. That's all in the past.
In 47, 48, 49, the Greeks and the Italians, we
don't do that now, though. We don't mess around other people's elections, Jim.
Only for a very good cause.
Can you do that? Do a Vine video on a former CIA director.
Only for a very good cause in the interests of democracy.
All right, thanks for being here. It's always.
Wow.
Like he couldn't even keep a straight face. Yum 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 yum. He couldn't even keep a straight face. And then he's like, in the interest of democracy, like, wait, what?
That should be in response to
you're
people
interfering
asking
in the elections of other countries.
People ask us to
in
not
the interest
interfere
of
with their
democracy.
domestic affairs, and we just, in response, the official response from the State Department is
other people's voting rights taste delicious.
I mean, this is the problem. It is, the dilemma. Now, personally, I am not concerned about us getting engaged in another Cold War with Russia. And, when partisans make certain claims because they think it's going to, help them politically, I take more of an issue of it when the political outcomes are not going to be ones to my likings. I don't think that's commensurate with interfering in other people's elections because the outcomes are going to be more commensurate with my likings. But I'm pretty transparent about these things. But this is a problem. This is a problem because, and I understand why people do it, but maybe it goes away as soon as, Donald Trump and his whole crew get basically indicted for money laundering, which is also illegal. And that's what happens. You know what the cops say? For every one ticket we give you, we know statistically you've violated 10 other things. And I don't know. I hear people sort of complaining about they're just going to get them on obstructing justice or money laundering. Well, remember, they got Al Capone because he evaded taxes.
Oh, and that's why they're so freaked out.
Yep.
I mean, I even remember one. I think it was a New Yorker piece, or one of his lawyers was basically they were trying to specifically talk about some deal in Georgia, and they were just like, "This is Russia specific. If you find that we did some type of corrupt deal in Georgia, is not in the purview, sir,